Hello and welcome to Little Likac podcast. This is episode, I don't know what episode number this is. Must be 12. Yes, episode number 12. My name is Amanda. Welcome to my podcast. This is a knitting podcast with a little bit of talk about design work, my yarn dyeing, a bit of crochet sometimes as well, but primarily a knitting podcast. So my name is Amanda. I live in Derby, Derbyshire, in England, and I live here with my husband, my dog, my chickens, and my 2 teenage daughters. I can't say that for much longer because the eldest goes next week. She will be leaving next week for university. So the next time I podcast, I'll be saying I live here with my husband, my dog, my chickens, and one of my daughters, which is going to be very strange. So, don't know how emotional I'm going to get over that yet. Sometimes when I think about it, I start to get a bit emotional and then I pull myself together and kind of go, no, this is great. She's off to uni. This is what she wants. This is what she's always wanted since she was tiny. It's brilliant. So, at the moment, I'm not upset about it. I'm just so excited for her and jealous. I so wish I was 18 again, off to university. I had a fantastic time at uni. So, yeah, I'm just really excited for her. So this might be a shorter podcast this evening because I want to get through it quite quickly because we are going away tomorrow for a couple of days and I've got lots of things to do and organise and pack, and also if the podcast is shorter it shouldn't take quite as long to upload onto YouTube and all of those things. So yes, I've had 2 full weeks back at work. Last time I saw you 2 weeks ago, I had done my first week back at work and oh my goodness, I was so tired. And then last week I was so tired still. But this week has been much better. I feel like I'm getting back into the swing of things. Today is Friday, the 17th of September. This morning though, I must admit, I did press snooze on the alarm twice, which is unusual for me. And the other thing with the podcast tonight, I am filming at the moment while we're waiting for dinner to arrive. So this could be done in 2 parts. So I might stop, go and have my tea, come back down again and carry on filming. So if I'm in a slightly different position or I've changed my top because I've spilled stuff on it, that will be why. Okay, so let's talk about my top. First thing, oh no, actually I haven't said where you can find me, although I'll put all the information below, but I'm Amanda. You can find me obviously on YouTube as Little Likac, but I am on Instagram as Little Likac Yarn. I am on Ravelry as Likac66, I had to think about that then, Likac66, and you can email me at littlelikac@gmail.com. Oh, and my Etsy shop, of course, Little Likac Yarn, all one word. But all of that stuff's down below. Right, let's get cracking on because, as I say, want to get through. That sounds awful, doesn't it? To say I want to get through this. It makes it sound like I don't really want to do it. And I do. I really want to do it. If I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't do it tonight. But that's the point, I guess. I've had to squeeze some time to find to do it. But it's that important to me because I'm really enjoying doing the podcasting. And I'm so grateful for everyone who comes back to see the podcast each time. It always amazes me to see 400, 500 views. It's just lovely. So, alright. Anyway, stop wittering, Amanda. Let's get on with the show. So, first thing to show and tell is my finished object. This is the main finished object I have got for this episode. It is the lace yoke tee that I've been working on. It's taken me about 2 months to knit. It's in a worsted weight, primarily cotton. I really like the yoke. I'm really happy with how it's finished. Really comfortable. Nice sleeves, decent sort of width around the sleeves, ribbing, decent length. Quite happy with the length. I think I extended the length by about an extra inch to what it said on the pattern. I do like the yoke. I like the pattern on the yoke. I feel quite comfortable with it. I feel, obviously this has been done in cotton, I feel confident now that I could do something with a similar yoke to this in wool and feel quite comfortable. This is worsted weight as well, so if I did something in 4-ply, it's going to feel that much finer anyway. I think I would knit this pattern again quite happily. It's a free pattern. I didn't do it as long as it said in the pattern. It would have come down quite a way past my hips, and generally I do quite like longer length stuff, but anyway, I'll see if I can stand up. If this doesn't work very well to show you, then obviously I will put in some photos. So you can see I've got the length quite a bit above my, well, below the waist. Waist is here, and I've got it just here, and I think it's a nice length. I like the colour, it's actually quite autumnal. I had got this in mind as a summer top when I first started knitting it, but I actually think it's nice, quite a nice autumnal top. I can imagine wearing it with long sleeves, like a long sleeve t-shirt type underneath. And yes, I think it's quite good for September, October, that kind of not hot weather, not cold weather. So very, very pleased with this. Would definitely recommend the pattern. It was easy to knit. As always with these things, the yoke was interesting to do, and then it was just stocking stitch all the way around the body, which then gets a little bit tedious, but because it's worsted weight, it knitted up quite quickly. So really happy with this. And then the other finished object I have got today is only a half finished object. So I've been working on a test knit for Penny Baker Knits, and she's got so many designs on the go at the moment. I'm really lucky that I'm friends with Penny, so I often see sneaky peeks of her designs, and she talks a little bit to myself and her friends about her designs, and I know she's got lots of exciting stuff coming up. But this is a test knit for her. She's going to be releasing this pattern very shortly. It's a pretty straightforward, simple pattern, but looks really effective, I think. So she's called this the warm milk sock, something to do with, you know, kind of how warm milk can bring people comfort and just be cozy. And it's just got quite a nice simple rib effect, okay. Look, I put a progress keeper in. If you saw my last episode, you'll see I was saying how rubbish I am at remembering to put a progress keeper in to show the actual progress that I've made. I do sometimes use progress keepers for my own motivation, in respect that I sometimes use it in an evening to see how much I've can do in an hour or in an evening. But I left this. This is where I was 2 weeks ago. I'm doing this it's the adult medium size, although it is, I won't say too much because obviously it's going to be a paid for pattern, but it's quite a generous size. I have tried it on, it does fit fine, but because it's got the ribbing, there's quite a few stitches, so it's perhaps been a little bit of a slower knit than I would usually have, and the ribbing slows you down a bit as well, doesn't it? But I really, really like it. It does fit really nicely. I'm going to be honest, I did the classic thing of, I messaged Penny and said, are you sure about the number of stitches to cast on? I usually do blah, 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 blah. And she basically told me to trust her, and she was right. I did use 2.25mm needles though, which is my standard, and actually then checking my gauge, that does give me the same gauge that Penny had said in the pattern, so the gauge was spot on. And the only other thing is I did a slightly shorter leg than she did suggest, partly because I wanted to make sure I'd got enough yarn, and partly I just didn't feel another inch of length on the sock as what I wanted. This felt comfortable size for me. So yes, Penny, you're right, I should have trusted you because it fits fine, it fits nicely. So that is my first half of my October socks for the Rainbow Sock Chronicles as well, so I'm doing kind of a double whammy with that. So I've got 2 weeks to finish the second sock, and the yarn that I'm using is a tweedy yarn, as I'm sure you can sort of see, and it's from, and I have checked, she's on Etsy, this lady, and is still dyeing regularly. So I got this yarn as part of a bundle that I bought from Etsy, eBay, where somebody was destashing a whole load of sock yarn. And so this is from Dina's Home of Crafts. She is still dyeing, she's on Etsy. I don't think she's got this particular base anymore though. And as you can see, it is 85% superwash merino and 15% Donegal net, which I talked a little bit about last time. The colourway is called Pop, which is just perfect because it does kind of pop. And it's for the Rainbow Sock Chronicles. So I mentioned last time with the Donegal net that I looked that up, and that is nylon. And therefore I believed that this is plied with nylon. Having said that, somebody else put on the Ravelry thread for the Rainbow Sock Chronicles that they thought the only bits that are nylon are the tweedy bits that stick out. But my theory is that the tweedy bits are attached all to some nylon that's plied with it. But I don't know. Does anybody know? If anybody actually knows if the chances are this is plied with nylon all the way through, and those tweedy bits are, because in my mind I imagine this very thin bit of nylon with the tweedy bits kind of attached along, and then it's all plied in. But if I'm talking rubbish, which is entirely possible, I could be known for talking rubbish. If I'm talking rubbish and the reality is the nylon is only those tweedy bits, then these are not going to be hard wearing socks. I'm not going to wear them with shoes, and I will just wear them around the house, because otherwise they could end up maybe not felting but wearing through a bit. I have had a pair of socks do that, which were 100% wool. That was kind of before I really realised. I knew that nylon strengthened the sock, but I didn't realise that nylon stopped it from wearing through so quickly. Anyway, we're doing Warm Milk Socks by Penny Baker Knits, yarn by Dean's Home of Crafts, and oh, it's just such a gorgeous colour. Lovely pattern, colour, everything seems to have gone really well with those. Oh, and ta-da, on my new sock blocker. Okay, so that's all I've got for finished objects properly. I've got a, if you remember last time I did show you my full steam ahead mitts, and I was looking for test knitters. So the pattern is written. Test knitters have tested the small size and the medium size, so I've got there were a few little mistakes, nothing major actually. I was quite impressed with myself. So there are a few amendments I need to make on that pattern. However, nobody has tested the larger size, the large size. If you are interested in test knitting the large size of this pattern, it's a really quick pattern to knit. The other testers all had this knitted, had a pair knitted in the space of about a week, maybe some of them 8 or 9 days, but yeah, really, really quick. Most of them I think had the full pair knitted in the space of a week. So if you would like to knit the larger size and get a pattern, you'll get a copy of the draft pattern, which is how it is at the moment, and to knit them, and then when you successfully complete the test knit and let me know of any issues when they're finished, not only will you get a free copy of the full pattern for those mittens, but you can choose one of my other patterns for free as well. Don't get too excited because I've only got 2 other patterns at the moment. But the reason why I'm showing these again is not just because I would love to have a tester knit the large size, and if nobody wants to do it, I shall do it myself. But the other reason is one of my testers made the comment about how nice it would be to do a pair of socks with this frill, and that got me thinking, and I thought, I wonder if I could design a pair of socks with this frill around the ankle or the cuff. I don't think you'd want to make it too long, do a short ankle, and maybe with this lace going down the foot. So that is in my mind at the moment. Not going to promise that it's going to happen. Well, yeah, actually, it's probably going to happen. I'm going to give it a try, and I think they will be my October socks for the Rainbow Socks Chronicle. I haven't decided exactly which colour they're going to be in yet, because now we've done all the colours of the rainbow. We are allowed free choice of colour for the next few months. Although I am toying with, because I love this, I am toying with this being my October. This is one of my yarns, and it's my rose gold, so that might be what I use for that sock design and for my October socks. Possibly that one or Montague, but I think it might be the rose gold. Okay, so I haven't got any other sort of finished objects to show you, so we'll go on to works in progress. So the first one I'm going to show you, I need to get a better bag than this actually, because it's cute, isn't it? It says Yarn Addict. How appropriate, Yarn Addict. But the reason why I think I need a better bag to put this in is because the needles have poked through once or twice, and I'm also worried that it's not protecting the needles. So in here is my socks for, or are my socks, well there's only one, so it's my sock for, Socks for WMAS, which is a knit along that is being hosted by a lady called Jeanette, and then Lucy from This Nanny Knits has been promoting it on her podcast. If you've not seen her podcast, check her out. She's lovely, such a lovely would say girl, but she's that's a bit patronising. She's a young lady, and she's just got a lovely podcast. Anyway, so Jeanette is wanting to donate 500. That's a big ask. 500 pairs of hand knitted socks to the West Midlands Ambulance Service and NHS Trust. And so obviously she can't do that by herself, so she's asked for people to help. So this pair of socks, I just leave this now in my car, this bag, and if I'm picking up one of my daughters from somewhere and I'm waiting around 5-10 minutes, I just pull it out and knit on it in the car while I'm waiting. Sometimes I'm tempted to do that at traffic lights, but that would not be a good idea. I am going to put a progress keeper in there in this one now. I think last time I showed you, I had literally only just cast on the cuff. I really don't think I've got much further than that, but that's why I will put a progress keeper in so we can be sure. So I've finished the heel flap. I need to turn the heel and pick up the gusset stitches. So that is one sock about halfway done, I guess. Deadline for this, I think, is they need to be with Jeanette by the beginning of December, so I have got a couple of months. And the yarn that I'm using, I'm doing this in a large size, a large adult, so in the hopes that a man can have them. And the yarn I'm using is King Cole Zigzag, so I'm using a commercial yarn that can easily be washed and thrown in the washing machine, though doesn't need hand washing. And also I've got a second ball of this, so if I get tight on the amount of yarn I've got left, I don't need to stress. I've got a second ball of this. So those are my socks for WMAS. They are going to be a bit of a slow process, I think. Although tomorrow we are driving to Wales. It's going to be a 2.5-3 hour journey, and I keep debating, I keep changing my mind what I'm going to take. It's not me driving, obviously, my husband's driving, so I'm debating whether to take those and really crack through them, whether to take the warm milk socks, whether to do a blanket square, because I haven't done a blanket square yet this month for my Radvent blanket. So I'm still debating, or whether to take a new project that I'm going to show you in a minute. So WMAS socks. The other pair of socks that I was working on last month, I have not done anything on in the last 2 weeks, so I haven't brought those down to show you, were the wood nymph socks that I'm doing in the turquoise. Once I've got the warm milk socks finished, I will pick those back up again as well. So they're my replacement for June socks. But socks. Got quite a lot of socks in the plans at the moment. I still haven't cast on the stripy socks for my daughter. I have decided that I'm definitely going to work on those while she's at university, and the plan is to post them to her while she's away, but they've not been cast on yet. I've got a request from my daughter's boyfriend to knit him a pair of socks again for Christmas. I knitted him a pair last year and he really, really likes them. So I've got a request from him for another pair, and apparently he wants them in blue. So it was quite funny actually. I was showing my daughter different blue sock yarns I've got in my stash. She was like, no, that's not quite right. No, I don't know. What about that one? And again, I wanted to do it more in a commercial yarn so his mum doesn't have to worry about putting them in the washing machine. Anyway, we chose some, but as long as they're done for Christmas, so they won't be cast on for a while yet. And then there is the Strictly Sock Along, which is new to me. I love Strictly Come Dancing. That starts tomorrow. It's so exciting. And Ali from Little Drops of Wonderful, another podcast that I watch sometimes, apparently she does this every year, I don't know how many years it's been going. She does a Strictly Sock Along, and the idea is that you knit on a pair of socks while you're watching anything that's Strictly Come Dancing related. But apparently it is okay to cheat. Some people allegedly have even cast on already, despite the fact that Strictly does not start until tomorrow. So I was having an ahhing, should I start another pair of socks? Should I and then I couldn't help myself. I remembered I got this yarn in my stash that I bought last year, which I had thought would make really great autumn, maybe Halloweeny socks. They've got kind of got a pumpkin Halloween vibe, and they've got stellina in them, a bit of sparkle. So I thought, oh my goodness, they would really work well for Strictly, for the Strictly sock along, because they've got the autumnal colours, they've got stellina in them, and so this is the yarn. It's an opal commercial yarn, and it should stripe, and it's got this lovely sparkle. You can see that really well. So, and I got it in a reduced bucket some point last year. Can't remember where from. Might be when I was on holiday. I think it was down in Devon. So those are going to be my Strictly sock along socks, and the plan is to start those tomorrow, probably in the car, although casting on in the car is not good, so maybe I'll cast them on. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, they're going to get cast on this weekend. Yay! Right, I'm going to pause because my husband has just texted me to say that dinner is here. So I will be back in a little bit. Bye for now. Hello, so I'm back. The lighting has probably changed because it's got a little bit darker outside. I've had my tea. We had a takeaway this evening, Friday evening, you know what it's like. And I've come back and I realised as well that I've been talking about my works in progress, and then I started to move on to future knitting plans, and I'd forgotten to show you one of my works in progress. So this is the shawl that I've been working on for the, what is it, Across the Pond shawl make along. So this is the Always Better Together shawl that I've been working on in King Cole soft cotton soft, which I say every time is exactly that, just incredibly soft cotton. So I'm getting towards the end of this now, and I've still got a full ball of this left, so I'm wondering whether my gauge is out on it. I must admit I didn't do a tension square or anything like that with it, but it's coming along beautifully. So since I last saw you, I completed all of this lace work here. So last time I saw you I was up to here. This lace work did take quite a while. So I said to you then that I've been trying to do a section per week, and this lace took me over a week. Had to really quite concentrate, but isn't it beautiful? And so this section, I've still got another 10 rows or so to finish on this section, so technically I'm about a day behind where I wanted to be, but that's not too bad really. So that's it from the beginning. This is where I've cast on. I did this section, these eyelets, and then we went into the first section of mosaic, and then this lace, then more mosaic, then lace, and now more mosaic. So it's going to be quite big, but as I say, I've still got, all I've got left is this mosaic, then there's a block of this dark pink, and then that's it, it's the border. So I've still got all of that of the raspberry, and this is the second ball of the orchid, I think it's called. But I've still got all of this, so I'm thinking, really, is it going to take so much yarn? This next block, I would imagine, yes, it will use all of that, but I can't imagine it's going to use very much of that, which means actually then that I perhaps can do one of the more yarn hungry borders for it, because there's two border designs. So that is coming on so well though. It is so soft and snuggly. It's going to be beautiful. So very, very happy with how that's coming along. And as I say, I'm only maybe a day behind schedule on that. Plan is to have it finished for the end of September, because that's when the shawl make-along finishes. Must admit I haven't actually really posted it anywhere for that make-along, but it's just sometimes nice to feel like you're part of a make-along, even if I'm not really actively contributing to any of the discussion and things on that one. So that was the other whip that I had to show you. Those are the main things I've worked on, and in fact that was my plan really, is just to focus on the warm milk sock. I had a big, like the last week, just focusing on the warm milk socks and that shawl, because they both had deadlines. So I had to have one of those socks finished by the 25th of September, Obviously that's plenty of time anyway, so I really was just working on those last week. After I'd finished this, then it was just socks, shawl, socks, shawl, socks, shawl. And what I've tended to find I'd do is maybe do a couple of hours on the shawl in the evening, and then a couple of hours on the sock. So yes, more future knits to show you though. So socks I've already talked about, got lots of pairs of socks planned over the next few months to get to the end of the year. I have still got at least 2 pairs of socks on my needles from a year ago that every month I keep thinking I really must work on those, but I've got other things that need working on. So they will probably be one of my New Year's resolutions in January, will be to get those 2 pairs of socks finished. Maybe I'll show them to you next podcast. So yeah, lots of socks still planned for this year. But I've also got 2 jumpers that I want to do. So I want to show you those 2 jumpers. So it was on Facebook actually, on one of the knitting pages that I'm on Facebook, or knitting groups that I'm on Facebook. Hang on 1 minute, the dog is barking. I'll be back in a minute. And I'm back again. This is going to be a very bitty podcast. Alright, never mind, I'll edit it together. It won't be seamless, never mind. So, on Facebook, one of the pattern knitting groups that I'm on Facebook, somebody had put, actually it was their own design, and a jumper, and I was just like, oh my goodness, that's lovely, absolutely love that. Got to get that pattern. So I'll show you on here. Oh, you can see the glare. Look at that, look at those sheep, just gorgeous, really adorable. And the lady wearing it is her design, and it's called Time Wool Tell. And the designer is called Annalisa Filippi. And I just thought, oh my goodness, wouldn't that be a fun Christmas jumper to make? So I bought the pattern straight away. I think it was the day that she'd released it. And it's an Aran weight design. And so then I got thinking about what I've got in my stash with this Aran weight. And actually I suddenly remembered, this technically is worsted weight. That's what it says on the ball band, which I've not got. And it's Plymouth Encore worsted. And I bought it in America on the Florida trip, where I bought quite a lot of yarn. And this was supposed to be to knit my mother-in-law a jumper. And when I came to swatch it, it was, because the pattern that she had picked was for worsted weight, so we were in America, so let's buy some worsted yarn, and this was too thick. It was knitting up too thick, so it felt like it was more of an Aran weight. So I thought, oh, I've got lots of this. It's been sat in my stash for 10 years because I ended up using a different yarn. You can see where I'd started using it. So because I ended up using a different yarn for my mother-in-law. I think she used Serda Click, and so I've got lots of this, which would be great for the cream, but of course I sometimes worry about using different bases or different yarns for colour work, but so I was thinking, well, and I looked and I can't get Plymouth Encore in England. I mean, there was some on eBay, but it was like a job lot of, I don't know, 10 balls, which I don't need. So again, I went back to my stash, and I have got this, which is an Aran weight, which is what the pattern calls for, King Cole Merino Blend Aran. And when I've compared, and I've used this in another project, so I've got some in half part ball, and when I compared the two and sort of held them, I will do a tension square actually with the colour work. When I've compared, I think they are very similar, and I've done the wraps per inch thing, and they were coming out the same. So I think they are incredibly similar, even though technically the cream is worsted and the purple is Aran. I think they're very, very similar. So I'm going to do a swatch of the colour work with these two, and if they work okay, because I've got 2 more full balls of this, hopefully that will be enough to do the colour work on that jumper. and I thought it'd make a really good fun Christmas jumper or winter jumper to do with the sheep. So that will be one of the winter projects that I'm going to be working on. But I think that's more for heavy winter going, more like sort of December, January time. But I have got an autumn project, jumper project sweater that I want to do. And I've been looking, I've shown you this yarn when it arrived a few weeks ago. Purple again. When I've got this beautiful DK weight yarn from, is it Woolly Witchcraft? I think that was her name, off of Etsy. And I'd ordered these and got 2 green, 2 silver, 2 purple. And then she had sent me, in addition to that, this green and plummy brown as well. So I've been looking for a striped pattern jumper, and oh, you know what it's like, you can spend ages going down the rabbit hole. Would that be right? Will that be right? Will that be right? And then I found a commercial pattern that I absolutely think will be right. So I like the neckline. It isn't drop sleeves actually. I had been saying that I was going to do drop sleeves. I like the neckline though. I like the blocks, the size of the blocks. It is raglan sleeve, but I think getting the guide for the blocks will be right. What I think I'm going to do though is that I'm going to put a stripe of grey in between. So what I'll do is have the purple and the green. So I don't know if there will be stripes of grey. I don't know. The purple and the green. Is that the right green? Sorry, excuse me. Grey. What have I got? Yeah. So yes, I've got 2 of these. So I will use those. I'll have stripes of grey in between every colour, and then I might use that one as well, I think, rather than the other green. So I think it will be those colours. So hold that. Yeah, those will be the main blocks of colour. I think I prefer that to that. Oh, I don't know now, maybe that. No, those will be the main blocks of colour, striped with grey in between to break it up. Yeah, I think that's going to look really nice. So this will be a seamed pattern rather than knitted in the round. What I love with a lot of King Cole patterns at the moment is that you get 2 patterns in one. So actually there's this style as well, which has got the higher neckline and thinner stripes. So I could always change my mind and do that one, but I think I'm going to do the chunkier blocks. So that is going to be an autumn cast on, and I am hoping, I've made a list of what order I'm doing things, and I think I've got that in my list to cast on once I finish the Always Better Together shawl. So I need to wind these and I need to swatch to check, because it looks like it could be a thickish DK, and then I can work out what size to knit the pattern. So yeah, 2 sweaters that I want to do. Ideally I would like to have both sweaters finished by Christmas. That could be pushing it. Loads of socks, finish the shawl, keep going with Rainbow Sock Chronicles. Of course I've got the Advent squares to keep up with as well. Those are my main priorities for the next couple of months. I mean, it's the middle of September. 2 sweaters by Christmas, that would be awesome. Get this one done sort of by the end of November. I've got 2 weeks off at the end of October. I've got, yeah, in about a month's time actually. Yay! So I've done 3 weeks back at school, got 4 weeks to go, and then I get 2 weeks off. Can always crack on through the knitting then. So yes, I think that is it. Oh yes, last episode I announced the giveaway winner. So episode 10 I had offered this as a giveaway prize, and then episode 11 I drew the winner and named the winner, and that winner has not contacted me yet. So if you entered the draw to win this skein of yarn, episode 10, if you commented, but you've not looked at episode 11 yet, watch episode 11, because I announced the winner in episode 11. If the winner hasn't contacted me by the time I come to do the next podcast, I will go back to the episode 10 comments again and redraw for it. Okay, so if the person that won doesn't claim it in 2 weeks' time, which will be the 1st of October, if they've not claimed it by then, I will draw again from the people who entered that day. So yes, if you entered and you haven't checked out podcast number 11, go and have a look and see if it was you. And if it was you, then contact me on my email address, or you can private message me on Ravelry or on Etsy. Well, you can message me on Etsy or Instagram. Just basically get in touch with me one of those ways, and I can be sending that to you. Right, just having a little quick look round. Very lastly then, 2nd of October, the day after, well, probably the day that this next podcast comes out, I am exhibiting on an online festival again. I'm not doing Newark Market this month because of family life, but October the 2nd I am taking part in Yorkshire Yarn Fest. I think that's probably the biggest online festival I've done. So I did Yarn Craft Festival in June, I did Fibre Block Party in August, and I'm doing Yorkshire Yarn Fest at the beginning of October. So that will be an online one again. I'm really excited because my next Shakespeare play is going to be released in October. So on that 2nd of October I will be showing the yarns for that Shakespeare play. Not going to reveal yet what the play is, although it is October, so maybe think about some of the holidays and events that happen in October, and maybe which Shakespeare play I could connect to that, and you might work it out. So 2nd of October I will be showing that. I've also got some new autumn yarns. I don't know if I showed these last time, can't remember. Olive and maple, still not in the shop. Just been so busy. The advent calendars are nearly finished, they've sold out now, so I've been working a lot on those, and so still haven't got around to putting these in the shop yet, but they will be going in the shop. Olive and maple, so they were on my 75-25 sock base. They will be going in the shop. But 2nd of October, join me please on Instagram Live. I don't know the time yet, actually, I don't know what time I'll be on there. And if you go on to Yorkshire Yarn Fest and follow them on Instagram, you'll be able to see all the updates about that. If you're not already following me on Instagram, please come and say hello. If you're not a subscriber for the podcast on YouTube, I would love it if you would subscribe. It's lovely. I get sort of 400 or 500 views on the videos, which is wonderful. And I'm slowly heading towards 400 subscribers. So that would be brilliant. If you do watch the podcast each fortnight and you like it, please like it, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. That's always really nice. And my apologies, I don't think I've replied to the comments from the last one, which is really bad of me, so I will be going through those actually, so my apologies if I didn't. I do read them all. The trouble is sometimes I read them when I'm at work or when I'm doing other things, and I don't always get a chance to reply, so thank you if you have left a comment. My apologies if I've not replied to it. And yeah, that's it really. So I will see you in a couple of weeks. Okay, got a really busy couple of weeks coming up. Going to 25th wedding anniversary for my cousin tomorrow, so we're going away down to Wales for that. Next weekend, not only do we take the eldest off to university, but the younger daughter has her dance show, which will be going on. Technical rehearsal on Friday, dress rehearsal and performance on Saturday, 2 performances on Sunday. That's going to be going on at the same time as we take the eldest to university. So the next couple of weekends, crazy busy. Then it'll be Yorkshire Yarn Fest. Then the advent calendars will be being posted. Oh, I'm so excited about that. And yeah, really busy few weeks. But you know me, I'm only happy if I'm busy. I believe episode 3 might have been titled something about overcommitting. Yeah, that is me all over. But so what? It's all good fun. Bye. See you next time. Bye.